I feel so professional with my little microphone. But hey, friends, it's me, the Ebony Otaku, the well-rounded nerd. First of all, friends, come through with views and comments. Like, thank you. I got a boost in my channel about this time last year, and it seems to be happening again. And I have a lot of constant subscribers and commenters that I've chitty-chatted with quite a bit. So I appreciate y'all. I think it's good to tell people when you genuinely appreciate them because, I do YouTube for fun. This pays zero bills from zero bills. I still have a pile of stuff I want to give away when the channel pays for me to give it away on its own. The pile grows, honestly, because I've got a lot. So once the channel, if it ever gets to that point, which I think it actually will at some point, I'm hopeful. But if the channel ever pays for itself, and it's not just a record of my own personal foolishness, at some point, I definitely want to be able to be a part of sowing nerdy seeds out there. That's my way of saying thank you. But let us not delay. I know why you're here. A movie came out. And when movies come out, that means we get merch. Transformers! More than meets the eye. My poor husband, I act like this all the time. So there's a decision to make. Most of the Transformers one, okay, so for the uninitiated, why are you here? No, I'm joking. For those who are unaware, we were blessed. Blessed, I say, blessed with a new Transformers movie. Transformers 1. It's an origin story. Now, look, Gym 1 people, look. I said it when I reviewed Transformers 1. Well, okay, talked about it. Was that a review? When I talked about how happy I was to go see the movie on the day it came out. It's great. It's a good time. Old generation and new generation. Let's come together and celebrate the joy that is the proliferation of a property that we love. No, it will not be exactly like what I remember when I was 5 years old, getting ready to get my giant bowl of cereal and my favorite stuffed animal with full control over the remote to attend the weekly meeting of Kid Church we once called Saturday morning cartoons. No, it is not exactly the same. I don't care. I'm just happy that properties I love are still alive. They are finding new ways to introduce them to new generations. And it's a way to build commonality across the generations. So let us be happy and positive about this good thing that is Transformers 1. Yes, yes. Now, with that, merch. There's merch. Now, one thing I'm really happy about is because of a new movie coming out, there are characters that I honestly, as a kid, don't know if they ever existed. They may have, but I was really, really little in the first round of the Transformers. Actually, I wasn't even alive yet when Transformers first came out in America. I found it later, when I was old enough to understand what a cartoon was. But there were certain characters that I loved that I never saw a figure for, or if there was, my parents didn't have the money for it. So like one of them was Alpha Trion. He's over there on a shelf in a box. Have not decided if he's ever going to get unboxed, but he was one of my favorite characters. Granted, he takes up 7 whole minutes of all the Transformers all told. But he's a very pitiful character. And I like a wise old sage character. Those are some of my favorites, like Olga there in the what is it? The Gelflings, Dark Crystal. Thank you. Someone out there was screaming at the screen, and I heard you. I want you to know I heard you. Thank you for that. But like there were characters you just never got. They were never made, or if they were, 5-year-olds don't have money. Okay, this 5-year-old didn't have money. And then also, when you think back, some of the lore that you get post Optimus, so post original movie. Like Optimus was Orion Pax before he was, and why all the female Autobots were elsewhere, and just all that kind of stuff. So there were characters I wanted. Like, I don't recall there being female Autobots. Because the Transformers, let's be real, it was geared toward boys. And Jim, she was totally outrageous, was geared toward girls. But then there were shows that were all in between, like your Chipmunks and your Heathcliff and stuff like that. Those for everybody. But, back in the day, they really were very much targeted. This is a boys show. This is a girls show. I'm so glad we are past that in society, because who needs all the RCs and Alita ones and Moon Racers and Chromias? Are me and money, so you want to make more money, appeal to wider demographics. And you know what? AWA has heard you. The studios have heard you. Hasbro has heard me. So there's more to collect now. And I'm super excited because now I can get figures that even when I was younger may not have been able to get because they may not have existed. Don't know for sure. I'm not out here looking through catalogs and eBay for stuff. Like, I'm literally like, ooh, I'm in Walmart. Let's run down the toy aisle. I'm that person. Granted, I've got some stuff I've had since I was very young. Very lucky to still have it. Some things that people have given me over the years, but it's cool to be able to get versions of characters or snapshots of the property in time that we just could not have gotten without there being a resurgence and interest in the property. So first there's this guy. Look, when you watch just, we're going to exclude the comics. I know, transgression, but stay with me. If you've only ever watched the cartoon, if that's all you ever dealt with is the original 80s cartoon, nothing else to do with the Transformers, Megatron's the bad guy. That's how most shows work. There's an ultimate good, there's an ultimate evil, ultimate good defeats ultimate evil. That's how most shows, especially in like the 70s, 80s, and 90s, were set up. This idea of a complex villain or an anti-hero, they existed in literary terms, but it wasn't really something that was being pushed in mass media, and especially not to kids. And kids, it was always like a clear-cut message. This was a kid's show, so clear-cut message, bad guy, good guy, root for the good guy. That's just how it was. But then, thankfully we've got like the DCs and the Marvels out there, especially Marvel, giving us the anti-hero. A good example would be Deadpool. He's a hero, kind of, or even in depending on what universe you're in, Wolverine can be considered an anti-hero of sorts. So we've got, Batman is a good one. He's out there kicking butt, taking names, but the means by which he does is like, well, some people can question it. Or even, not making our superheroes as pure anymore. Like with Superman, like original Superman, just good. Then wars happen, and then they change, and then Superman changes with the time. Remember, art is a reflection of the time in which we live. And then now you get a Superman that, while he's trying to save the world, is destroying buildings full of people. All right, we're going to get Zod, but we're going to take this skyscraper out while we do it. Okay, all right, you saved something. But now we've got that going on. So I say all that to say, if you are only familiar with the original, he's the bad guy. Megatron's the bad guy. Originally D16 before he took on the name Megatron, according to Transformers 1. That's the lore we're looking at. But he's the bad one. He's the one that you're supposed to be like, you are anti-Optimus Prime. But it's more complex than that. And a lot of that complexity, as far as the visual interactive media is concerned, like television experience, that started, I think, because I've not watched Legacy. Don't ask me about it. Don't know. I tried Beast Wars. It was not for me. Okay, if it's for you, wasn't for me. But when I watched the War for Cybertron series, and it gave us a little bit more of that backstory between Prime and Megatron and what happened on Cybertron, it was kind of like, oh, well, I know a lot of that was in the comics. Doesn't show up as much in the original cartoon. In the War for Cybertron, more of that politicking, social dynamic stuff did show up. Why wasn't that the original? The time it was created wasn't the time to talk about that kind of stuff. Now, things going on, it's a great time to talk about. That's how this works. So, there was is this spoilers? I guess spoilers. Some spoilers for Transformers 1 and War for Cybertron if you haven't seen it. But there was a usurping of Transformers' rights on Cybertron, on their home planet. They had a Transformer who pretended to be a Prime, got all the Primes wiped out by, wiping them out, and then became subservient to the Quintessons and put the whole Transformer population underground, and then arbitrarily chose that some of them were going to be up here in society and some were going to be down here in society, and basically bamboozled an entire planet. Sound familiar? Which that's just how it goes. That's how these things work. And Optimus, Orion Pax, and Megatron D16, they uncover this through their adventuring together, and who the detractor is. And I'm trying not to give the whole movie away, but there becomes a rift between them because they start out as buddies in Transformers 1. Stay with me. And then they're not, because Optimus wants to take the optimistic side. Orion Pax becoming Optimus. He's the most optimistic of the primes. And then Megatron taking on the transforming cog, the spark of another Transformer, whose name escapes me, but another prime, and taking on his persona, sort of, but wanting to stand more for, how do I explain it? He got when D16 Megatron figured out that he had gotten bamboozled because he was so gung-ho for the leader that was a false leader, really, who had put themselves up as being a prime and was out searching for the primes and was going to put Cybertron back together, when the entire time he was basically creating a class war on Cybertron to keep himself up here taken care of and everyone else's right to be screwed. He lost it, and with good reason. And when you find all that out, it's kind of like, yeah, I stands with Megatron. Yeah, I rocks with him. Now, I 100% get it, because nobody likes to be fooled. I've been through a time in my life where I realized I was fooled. Won't go into gory details, but when you grow and realize that you have been bamboozled, it does create a mark on a person if the sun doesn't stop not being cool to me. It creates a mark. And it created a mark on him. And it is an understandable mark, but not just on him, but on a lot of other Transformers that we now call the Decepticons. They were deceived by this other figure. I'm trying not to give the movie away. I'm doing my best, but yeah. And they got a problem with it. And Megatron's like, you know what? We're not doing this again. Follow me. I'm going to make sure we don't do this again. And Optimus is like, but we can still be bros. We can rebuild. And he's like, you know what? We're not. No more primes. No, none of this. Like, we're not doing this anymore. And that's where their rift happens. I stands with him. I stands. But I didn't just get D16. I also got Orion Pax. This is another one I never would have been able to get. I don't think they made Orion Pax figures. Did they? I don't know. But we get to see a bit of his character arc. Now, I will say the movie does start out a little slow, but it's okay. It gets real good real fast. They got to lay the groundwork for people who haven't been in the universe. But then we get Orion Pax, and look at this version of a truck he turns into. I see what you did, Hasbro. I see what you did. And I'm okay with it. But he remains hopeful in spite of all the things. Now, I will say that when they come to the point of, because we all know he's going to be Optimus Prime. It's not like it's a secret. When it comes to the point for him to rise up and become Optimus Prime, I'm not so sure they earned it as well as they thought they did. Like, the movie was long. I'll be honest, I felt like they could have added 5 more minutes to flesh out a couple more things, mostly because I would have just been happy to get 5 more minutes of Transformers. But it feels like they should have done more. They did such a good job setting up Optimus and Megatron as friends. I don't think they did as good a job as they could have of showing why that friendship got so fractured, even though from a socioeconomic human perspective, I get it. But in terms of the storytelling, I'm not sure that they quite got there. But I think for a kid audience, who it's primarily made for, kids and fans, it's fine. It's fine. It's not a criticism. It's just an observation. But I do, when people are so pure that they can't see that there is murk, that can get annoying. You ever met that person who's so positive and it's just like, look, I'm happy. I'm a happy person. Obviously, I'm happy, but we all have days. Okay. We all have a moment. And when you meet that one who's just like, no, it's always good. It's always great. No, it's not. Sometimes it's not. And I think that's why that was the real source, was he felt like he wasn't really getting it. Do you not see how bad this was? But don't you see how good it could be? But do you not see what they did to us? But guess what we can build? No. I think that's what it really was. Could have been conveyed a little differently in my head, but hey, I didn't have $7 billion to make a movie. Now, here's the question, friends. Who do I open? Cast your votes now. I've already chosen. But who gets open? Who gets opened first? I think for today. Oh, he has a matrix. I was told by a viewer, and thank you, to be real careful about opening him because he's fragile and he will break easily, apparently. So I think I'm going to set him to the side until I have a clear space to put him, which I get more clear spaces by unboxing. But I was told that he real breakable. So shall we take Orion Pax out? Now look, collector's elephant in the room. Can we be real? Can we be real? We know that the stuff our toys were made of when we were younger, or the quality of production, there's tape, is not equal to what we were used to when we were younglings. We all know that. Sometimes there have been a couple of figures that, had they not been $5, I never would have considered getting. Had they cost me more money, I'd have been a little mad, honestly, because they were not worth the paper they were printed on. Where's my dog? Okay. Whoa, my chair sunk. I moved. I don't know why it does that. It needs a new gasket. Sometimes they do. They feel, what's the word? I hate using this word, cheap. Sometimes they do feel a little cheap. We don't like cheap. I don't think people would be as upset if they felt cheap if they were a cheap price. You know, I'll being true. It's just gonna be like Rodimus. They pictured him on the box with a matrix. Dog does not care. Y'all see that? There's a matrix on the box. There's really a matrix in here somewhere. Because I do not need 5,000 comments telling me that I need to look at the chest cavity to find the matrix. I don't think people would be as verklempt over the lesser perceived quality. Can you tell them corporate? If the price wasn't there. I mean, because I'll be honest, I got these, like, I think I just happened to be there when they were stocking them. I don't know why, but a lot of these big department stores, like when they first put something out, it's not at full retail. Or at least with this, it wasn't. And I was like, that $12? I'm going to go get it. I don't think it's $12 now. I think he's $24. And then also, you know, I was cutting the rubber band off of his arm and his wrist popped off. I'm glad I didn't pay full price for him because I'd be mad. And then also I signed up for, you know, a couple of discount things and stuff like that. You know, this is a good time of year though, and I gotta be careful. If you're collecting, because we're getting towards the holidays and a movie came out. So it's like prime collecting time. So I was very happy to see in the movie that this made an appearance that we never saw again. In the original Gen 1 and Gen 2. Didn't happen. Okay. Let's take a look at him. Okay, he feels okay. See if I can pop his little wrist back on. Oh my goodness. Okay, it went back on. Okay, it's got those little nib thingies. Okay, it's on. All right. Now, we're going to discover together if there's a matrix in here. Do I have another open Optimus to compare him to? I don't think I have another open Optimus except that little bitty one. Like this one, but he's too little. Or this guy, but he's plastic too. Oh, you know what? I'm going to grab another Transformers figure that's open. One moment. Okay, so Ironhide, right? So look at the detail. He's got a lot more points of articulation. Now, granted, he's one of the Studio Series figures, so they spend a little bit more time on them. But he feels expensive. That's the only word. He feels like a little bit more care has gone into the crafting of this figure. It's Orion Pax. and that's the appeal, which I'm fine with, honestly. I knew what I was buying when I bought him. But if you're expecting, I don't think they even make these die cast anymore. I have not seen a real die cast toy of this type, whether it's a Transformer or anything else, in a long time. Because I remember I had a C3PO once that a friend of mine at school gave me when I was in school, and he was made of metal. It was I wish I still had it. I don't. I had the original Voltron lines. Those are gone too. I know, right? Cry with me. But they were made of metal. They were die cast. Now, granted, the big black lion, you drop him on your toe was gone. It was going to be obliterated. He was heavy. But don't expect that. I don't think we get that anymore. But I will say that for, a molded figure that's been put together, I think he's fine. Now, here's the question. Y'all look with me. This better open, and there better be a matrix in here. That did nothing. Wasn't that anticlimactic? Well, let's look at his back. There's the back open. There's no matrix in there either. Okay, internet. Now, I opened Rodimus's chest eventually, like 2 months later. And yes, his little old matrix was sitting in there. Optimus, axe, which the axe goes on his hand. That's kind of great. So we'll put his little axe on, because I'm not transforming him. Y'all, when I try to transform stuff, okay, they think they're cute. Look at this. Look. They put his fingers on it so that it looks like his hand is still out when he's holding it. You know what? I'm glad I paid $12 and not $25. But I don't see the matrix. See, this is what happens when you really unbox stuff live and have not pre-done it, because then y'all get my real reaction. And that's a matrix on that side. That's half the reason I bought it. Was the matrix. I wanted another little matrix. There's nothing in this box. There was nothing taped to the back. There's nothing in the corners. Here's his transforming instructions. Let's take a looky-loo. What have we got? One. It's in his belt. Did I look right at it and miss it? Flip up. No, it's not here. His little back comes off. I don't know if it's supposed to do that, but it did. Oh, I see it. Okay. Whoo! Someone's already screaming at the comments. I hear you. Okay, look. I just saw it. It's up in here. Y'all gonna make me lose my mind. Up in her, up in here. So this opens somehow. Oh, does this flip down? Oh, you got the touch. Ooh. Oh, could they have made that harder to get to? Y'all, okay, look. This, look. Chest, open. Oh, what the heck? Yeah. Flip. There it is. I was really going to be mad if this wasn't in here. Like, I was going to be very, very sad. Because it was literally half the reason I bought this thing. All right. Wait. We ready? We ready for it? We ready for it? Do. You got the touch. You got the power. Wait, you got to hold it over your head. Light our darkest hour. Arise, Rodimus Prime. I'm like this all the time. Like, it's just how God made me. Okay, so it was in the chest. I'm not mad. Hasbro, y'all are so great and wonderful. Never stop making toys. Just for me. I'll keep buying them. Oh, okay. All right. I'm happy. Now I gotta put it back. Can I put it back? I'm sure she can put it back. Okay, so he's in. Yes. Okay. That little piece of plastic made me so happy. It made all of this worth it. He's a great figure. Highly recommend. 10 out of 10 for everybody. Yes. Do we love him? Don't care if you love him. I love him. I've added his stack of instructions to my other stacks of instructions. But I'm happy. That's all that matters. If it makes you happy, makes me happy, everybody be happy. As per usual, friends, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.